Hi, my name is Liz Speliotis, and I am here to discuss the significance and prevalence of obesity in lower socioeconomic populations. The significance and the whys. So we'd like to take a look at some of the challenges. The first is lack of access. Food insecurity is a significant cause that roots to the nurture and upbringing and what is ingrained in adolescent minds. So these seeds tend to grow and blossom, no pun intended, into adult obesity issues as young adolescents have this mindset that they have insecurities around whether there's going to be food availability. So the U.S. Census Bureau states that also neighborhoods with a collected lower socioeconomic status will frequently lack access to full-service grocers. The prevalence of mini-marts are actually 5 times that of economically developed neighborhoods in those neighborhoods and boroughs. So talking about transportation and vehicular limitations. Vehicle access and transportation methods go hand in hand with lower socioeconomic status as the number one predicator and determinant to whether or not a family can gain access to quality food and affordability is transportation. So transportation here really is the key role. Neighborhoods that are in lower socioeconomic states typically do not have access and ease to reach grocers. Driving is often the mode of transportation for these families, so transportation not only limits the access to nutrition, but to the physical activities as well. Studies performed by the National Institute of Health state that playgrounds and safe spaces to have activities and those types of physical outlets are 56% less present in lower class neighborhoods. So looking at costs, it's commonly known fact that healthy foods cost more than the lower nutritious value options. So if you're looking dollar for dollar at, say, cheeses, a higher end, better, lower fat product is going to cost you significantly more than a larger volume portion of a fake cheese product that you can get in a bigger bulk. So in a shopping study that I actually personally performed myself, I charted that I would spend 38% more on healthy selections of similar food groups in a weekly shopping run to the grocery store than if I priced the processed, less nutritious substitutes. So as you can see, these additional costs can be prohibitive to lower socioeconomic classes actually wanting to get those better and nutritious foods. In looking at neighborhood demographics for food quality selections, we'll note that demographically speaking, neighborhoods make a difference in what food selections the residents have. And that's not only grocers, but that's also fast food chains and any of those types of product lines. So in the Denver metro area alone, the neighborhoods with the densest populations of lower income housing actually had 3 times the number of fast food restaurants per neighborhood square. This fact by itself lends the inhabitants to an increased risk of obesity due to the availability of these poorer food choices. The last item is actual social beliefs. So the folks that fall into these demographic scapes tend to fall into the issue of problem. What problem? I don't see a problem because it's a part of the upbringing. Obesity's significance amongst lower socioeconomic classes is actually categorized under the problem. What problem area? Because there's a lack of self-recognition that attributes to these types of poor eating habits. This fact also ties closely in with the lack of access to the good grocers. And then also these folks are set in their ways, and this is kind of a way of life for them. So generationally, people become set in the habits, and the ease of access actually facilitates the continuation of these poor habits. So taking a look at some statistics around the problem, 43% of households considered below the poverty thresholds are food insecure. 70% of U.S. health costs are due to obesity associated with these diseases. Poverty rates of greater than 35% in areas attribute to a 145% increase in obesity amongst these population groups. And in looking at neighborhoods within the Denver metro area, Sections where there were the densest patches of lower income housing had 3 times the count of fast food restaurants, as previously discussed, per street area. So these are some pretty high numbers here. Now that we've actually covered the problem, I would like to hand it over to David Vasquez, who is going to discuss the causes of the issue.